Hello and welcome to the Turn 4 podcast. I am your host, Dan Maldonado. If this is your first time listening, welcome. If you're a regular listener, welcome back. This podcast comes from two lifelong fans of IndyCar and other forms of motorsports. Hey, before we get started, I wanted to introduce you to a guest we have, and we'll bring in our usual co-host, Tim Reiner, here shortly, but we've got a guest today. Our guest is Alex Gack. He is our unofficial F1 and NASCAR at COTA correspondent. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Yeah, hi Dan, and hi. Please say hi to Tim when he will be there. Yeah, happy to join you guys. Thank you for having me here. And yeah, I'm proud to have the title of the unofficial NASCAR at COTA race title.
That's right.
Thank you.
So, hey, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. I
Sure.
enjoy texting with you during the F1 races, and I know you were headed out to COTA to watch NASCAR. This was your first
Right.
NASCAR, right?
Yes.
Okay.
First. Yeah, to be honest, like before even I have never watched even one NASCAR race on the TV. Like
Really?
no, from start to finish, never. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like the life experience, my first race, and yeah, that was cool.
That is so cool. So, just to kind of let the listeners know, we bumped into you on the
Yes.
shuttle, right, from the parking lot at Formula
Yep.
One last year,
Correct.
and because I was the third wheel, I had an open spot. So you sat with me on the bus, and then we just talked and talked and talked on the way in, and we talked while walking into the gates, and then you stayed with
Yeah,
us,
we
right?
just
Because
end up spending whole day together. Yep.
yeah,
And I
and it was a lot of
joined that.
fun because,
Yep.
well, you were by yourself anyway, and Tim, of
Right.
course,
Yeah,
was
yeah,
with
yeah.
with his son, so it was a lot of fun, and we had a good time chatting and spending the day together. So that
Absolutely.
was a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
fun. That's how we met. So you had a chance to visit COTA this past weekend to see NASCAR in action, your first time. Tell us your thoughts. What what
Well,
strikes you right off the bat?
yeah, that's interesting because, like, as I mentioned before, I never watched any like NASCAR races, so it was interesting for me to see how it actually goes. And I know that usually, like the NASCAR, they're doing like this high speed oval races on motor speedways, and this is the road course, which is pretty new for them. And I know that in Kota they were doing only like the third run, I believe so.
Hmm.
So I decided, okay, let's go and see. And actually, then I should say I really enjoyed the race.
That's good.
Uh, so there was like the positive and negative sides. Let's start from the positive one. First, it's affordable. I mean, the GA general admissions pass is like $50. I paid like 130 to have a seat on the turn one. That's my favorite sport in Kota. So of course, uh, I never even thought. I mean, to take any other spots. Um, then what the parking, it's just easy to park. I saw that it's parking lot P, which is right next to P1. So I decided, okay, I didn't buy the tickets before, so I just went for my own, to see like maybe they will let me in or I can pay, or at least I can park like on this farmers next
Yeah,
people who
yeah.
live nearby, and they're renting the parking their lots and yards for like $20. So I just went there and was surprised there was no fee, no entrance fee, or wherever they will just guide me. I park it, walk like 2 minutes to the my grandstand, and that's it. That was I surprised because there was no people at all, and I text you immediately like, "Hey,
Yeah.
then
Where's
this is, looks
everybody?
like for Formula One, but nobody show up."
Yeah.
People,
Yeah.
the race is there, like all this, cars and stuff, but no one was there.
And you
But
got there super early, right? You got there about four
right,
hours
yeah,
ahead and you
yeah,
walked right
yeah.
in.
Correct. Yeah, because like I check on the website that the gate's going to be open at 10:30, and having this Formula One experience in Kota that is going to be packed. So I decided to be there for one of the first one, to take a spot, to look around, see what's going on. So when I came there, again, that was empty. Like on this T1, whole like this grandstand, there was only me, like, and maybe like 10 another people. That's it. I was like, wow, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, one day race started like around 2:30, like it was packed. I mean, the grandstand was full. and the hill next to like turn one, there also were a lot of people. And actually, I should say that Kota, they probably did not sell like whole places for whole the bridges for the NASCAR, because the tickets were only for turn one. Turn three was nothing. T9, like turn nine, that was empty, and then 15, turn 12, they were pretty full as well, and then main grandstand. So that's like half of the spots they just rented for the NASCAR. They probably know that, the Formula One was like 400,000 people last year.
Yeah.
And I read that the last year, I think NASCAR was like 50,000. So like divide by what's 4. So yeah.
It's funny. We're an IndyCar show. We watch a lot of IndyCar, and that's kind of primarily our focus. But it's kind of the same effect that IndyCar has when they go to these NASCAR tracks, right? When they used to go to these
Mhm.
NASCAR ovals where they'd put 20,000 or 30,000 people in the stands, which is pretty decent, right?
Right.
But you're looking at a track that's accustomed to holding 120,000 people. It doesn't look like there's anybody there.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
just watched Drive to Survive, and we got to the episode where they showed, at Coda, and they had a lot of the imagery you could see, panning in the stands at Coda,
Hmm.
and it was beyond busy. I mean, we were there, right? So we were
Yeah.
immersed in it, but seeing it on camera after, being away from it for the last,
Right.
6
Yeah.
months
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever, it was like PTSD coming back to this, where it's
I
like, man,
know.
I can't believe we were sitting right there, where it's like we were on a hill and you couldn't even see the hill because there were so many
I
people
know.
there,
Even like to walk, you have to have your shoulders out,
Yes.
because otherwise
Yeah.
you cannot just feed with, there
Just
are so
walk.
many
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and having this few people was actually really nice. I mean, I felt very comfortable out of this crazy crowd. But yeah. So
NASCAR.
and
So
then
NASCAR was $50. I think I paid, I think Tim and I paid about $400 for
for
general
grandstand,
admission. Yeah.
yeah,
For
same.
last year.
uh,
Yeah.
for the general admission, yeah. I have like this promotional emails, and Kota emailed me lately like, hey, we have tickets on sale, so general admission for 2 days for this year race, $450. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's a deal.
of
I
course
mean,
it's
it
a
really is
deal.
a
I
deal. Yeah.
mean, it's a deal, right? But
Yeah.
again, so yeah,
Was it all
NASCAR,
done up
it's
though? Did they have like the merchandising did they blow it all out, or did it just seem like they breezed in and they were ready to breeze out?
yeah. I think that definitely it looks like they just breathed in, because there were no merchandise. I was about to buy some, hat or maybe t-shirt, and I went there to look for, and was surprised because there were nothing there. I mean, just some spots for food, some food trucks, and that's it. Only I could find is the official Kota merchandise store that was always there. And then I think that was a booth from the Texas Motor Speedway from Dallas, and
That's
that's
crazy.
it. But like from the team's perspective, it was like what's 39 cars. I'm not sure how many teams in the NASCAR at this moment,
Mhm.
but for sure, even like each one has like 2 cars, so at least 20, right?
Yeah.
But there were nothing, yeah, nothing at all. And also, I was like, yeah, that's not Formula One for sure.
Yeah. It's so odd. They what There was a lot of cautions, right? Cautions to begin and cautions to kind of end. How did that impact the race for you?
Actually, the first caution happens in turn lap one, and I
Right.
was like, what? And what's also surprising me, because you cannot actually see that as caution, because I don't know why, for some reason, that system that shows the lights, the yellow light, blue light,
Mhm.
this LED lamp, they were not working. They were using flags, they had like two booths, and then you can see the guy who was waving the flag. And it's
Wow.
really not like, it's hard to see, because one booth was right in front of me, but it was on the back side, so I couldn't really see. So the only I can see that's a caution that the guy, because I turned the radio or official NASCAR radio, wherever who were broadcasting that race. So I could see there's the caution, and then I can say, okay, yeah, the guy's waving the flag. But yeah, they happened. There were like 8 cautions during the race, and after each caution, of course, that was a restart. So technically, I saw the start 9 times.
Yeah.
And being in the turn 1, that's a great spot for sure to see that, because yeah, there's
Because it's
not
just a wave, right? Coming up.
right.
There's
Yeah,
no
it's not
regard for
standard start.
lines or
Yeah,
anything like that. It's just, yeah.
it's not standard start. There is no lights out and away we go. No, that's not it. The safety cars went when how it started, like all the cars, the safety car, and then all the cars, they did 2 laps, then safety car somehow magically disappear, and then you just see like 2 lines of cars just flying towards you like the hornet's nest, and vroom, done.
Yeah.
So it was 9 times. I enjoyed a lot. And especially turn 9, there's like 5 cars turning in over there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of the bumps and the fenders, and it's actually nice to watch because Formula One is open wheels. Whatever happens,
Yeah,
that's
you're not
done.
gonna.
These
Yeah.
cars, yeah, they can last, for a long time for sure, because
A lot
there's
of
the
bumping and
contacts,
banging.
like, yep, bumper to bumper, a lot of battles, and yeah, it was really fun to join, to watch, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So Kimi Räikkönen and Jenson Button were in this race. Is this,
Yep, our old friends.
yeah, right? From Formula One. Do you think that this is just a way for NASCAR to capitalize on the current popularity of Formula One?
Before you asked it, I didn't even think about that. But now actually start to think maybe this something has to do with that. Yes.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
both of them, they're pretty famous name, right? Especially Kimi and Button. They're both Formula One champions. And of course, having that hype after Drive to Survive that Formula One has now in America, 3 races, for sure NASCAR maybe want to get a little bit from that. But I should say, I read the comments for each of them after
mhm.
the race, and Kimi said that people actually can overtake without DRS, and it
Yeah,
feels more like a normal older style F1 racing.
right.
And that's true, because right now in Formula One, that's so technical. So actually, that's true. You cannot overtake without DRS because it's so
Yeah.
much downforce, right? So the car put in the dirty air, and that's it. And Jason Button said, that was the craziest 4 hours of my racing career. Think
Right.
I hit or got hit almost every lap.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's exactly how it was, because if you hit, then you go to the pit lane and pit stops, and it's just constant change of the leader. I also on that app of the NASCAR, I checked there was a statistic, so
Mhm.
it was the change of the leader for like 17 times, and
Wow.
it's just 68 laps. Can you imagine something like that in Formula One?
No,
No.
no, my God,
In
no.
Formula
Yeah.
One, even like if you have like 1, 2 yellows, that's okay. That's energize the race because something gonna change. Because other than that, they just start. How they start, couple of overtakes, and that's done. The most of the times they will finish on the same order, right? In the NASCAR, where I got that it's unpredictable. There's like
Yeah.
this row racing. There is no as the Formula One has this track limits where you penalized. They did penalize for, I think, even Lagana and some and other guys got the penalty for cutting the S's on turn 3 and
Oh, yeah,
4.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, because again, Formula One, and I remember even when we were watching on the qualify, they just stick to the track, because of the downforce. NASCAR, their car, they do not have that much downforce, and of course for them, SS is pretty on the high speed. It's pretty hard for them to drive there, so they cut them. But yeah, other than that, for sure they enjoy it. And Kimi, I think it was the second race for him in the
It
NASCAR.
was, yeah.
It was, yeah, and he finished 27th, I believe.
29. Yeah.
29, yeah,
Yeah.
out of 39 cars. But you know what? I think the 10 laps before finish, he was running like fourth or fifth.
He was,
So
yeah, he
that's what,
gambled, yeah, but then
yeah, then
kind of
he
got
got
caught out.
hit
Yeah.
by someone, and Button, I think he finished with 18th,
Yeah.
which,
Better
yeah,
finish for
I
Button.
mean, that's the first finish for him. And yeah, as he said, craziest 4 hours of his racing career. So for sure
Yeah.
he enjoyed. And in his tweet, he also said, "See you in Chicago." So I don't know, maybe that's, only it will continue. And for sure, yeah, NASCAR. And actually, what I also see, again, back to your questions, that yeah, I see a lot of people with Kimi merchandise, Kimi Raikkonen. I saw Finnish flags. So for sure, people were actually rooting for him. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Again, I think that part of the if somebody's rooting for Kimi Räikkönen at at Coda, it's because Drive to Survive, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise
Yeah.
you wouldn't know who he was. I mean, you could
Exactly.
do Kimi won, right? So Kimi won at Coda, but
That was his last win. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's unusual though, right? That a more pure Formula One fan would be attending that NASCAR race. You went, I think, because you had the time and curiosity, right? You'd never seen
And
it before.
Kota, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And actually,
go ahead.
yeah, sir. Yeah, I like Kota more on the springtime because everything was green, the grass was green, trees, and actually feel like the fresh, because when they're doing the race in October, everything is dead
It's
after
all
this
dried out,
scorching
yeah,
summer,
dead,
all
yeah,
dry, yeah,
yeah,
and just a lot of dust and dirt. I mean, wind, especially when the dust, like your glasses, even
yeah.
they have the layer of dust. And spring is beautiful. I don't know. I think I would definitely, if they have this, like, in Miami, if we'll swap with Miami and do it in May, it probably will be a little bit hotter than October, but if they get lucky. But again, the spring is beautiful on the
Yeah,
on Kota.
I agree with you there. Top five finishers. Tyler Reddick, of course, won this race. He led 41 laps, followed by Kyle Busch. Didn't lead any laps, but he finished second.
Yep.
He's had an amazing resurgence since joining the Childress team this year. And Alex Bowman third, Ross Chastain fourth. Bill Byron led 28 laps on his way to a fifth place finish. And then notables: Jenson Button, 18th, Jordan Taylor out of IMSA, 24th, Kimi Räikkönen, 29th, and then Connor Daly, the IndyCar regular, finishing 36th, one place behind where he started. So glad to see Connor still continuing to get these NASCAR opportunities. I think that's just a victim of teams. Hey, you got the hat on, right? I think,
Yes, I
of
do.
course, when we met you, you were all decked out in, and for those listening on the podcast, he's wearing a Ferrari hat. And when we met him, you were all decked out in Red Bull
Red
gear,
Bull.
right? You had
Yeah.
the backpack, yeah, the whole schmear going on. Yeah.
Yep.
So can we talk a little bit of Formula One?
Of course. I would love
So,
to.
yeah, you're a Red Bull fan, right? We know that despite the hat today, but is it ridiculous to believe that Red Bull could win every race this season?
It's not ridiculous. It's Formula One, and I think, I mean, in the history in Formula One, there always were like the dominant team, right? If you'll remember back to like 80s, when the Senna and Prost on McLaren, they won almost every race, right? Then 2000 Schumacher era, 2009, 1991, 2004. Also, I mean, in 2002, just for record, Schumacher won 15 races out of 17. Can you imagine?
That I can't.
And then
That's insane. Yeah.
then again, yeah, Mercedes nowadays hybrid era, 2014, 2016, Hamilton and Rosberg both, they won 51 races out of 59 for 3 years, which is just
Yeah.
unbelievable. And like 8 constructors championships. So the dominance, and that's just, I think that's the again turned for Red Bull to be a dominant car. And
Yeah, they definitely hit this
right,
car
yeah,
update pretty heavy. Yeah.
that spot, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think Max will be time champion this year, and Red Bull will get another championship. But yeah, it is what it is. That's how Formula One works.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I watched, but the first couple of races for me weren't really exciting. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
Fernando's making them exciting, right? But
yeah.
before I get there, let me ask you. So, what do you make of the Verstappens, right? Max and his dad, who of course was a Formula One driver as well,
Mhm.
seemed a little sour grapes after Jeddah. They were not happy with this team win. They were. What do you make of
Yeah,
that?
they were not. I don't know. Like I think that every champion who actually won the champion, they're not like nicest guys in the world. They have this killer instinct, and they just want to win. They don't want to be second. They always want to be first,
Yeah,
and that's what makes them champions. And
that's
yeah,
true. Yeah.
that's just how they are.
I think, they talked about it, I think, during this season's Drive to Survive, where a lot of these Formula One champions, past and present, are ruthless,
Yes, they are.
right? And you look at somebody, I don't know who do I want to pick on. So if I pick on just Carlos Sainz, by all accounts, seems like a very nice person, seems to have very nice people around him, right? His cousin and family and everything. Probably not Formula One champion material.
Same. Yeah, you thought of science, and when with this killer instinct in champion, I was thinking about the Leclerc. He seems to be a very nice guy,
Same too.
educated,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But I don't feel that stamina in him, that
Yep.
killer instinct. I mean, for sure he has it, but not to that level, just to be like 100% focused on that. And yeah, the same even with they choose the from older times. Schumacher also
Hmm.
was
Oh,
not the
ruthless,
exact
right?
Senna.
Absolutely
Same
ruthless.
when
Yep. Senna, same.
Then
Yep.
Senna, when young Schumacher came, he
Hmm.
came to him into the boxes. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
dude, don't do that. Because
Right.
I'm a champion, right?
I think just off the top of my head, maybe it's just recency bias because we just talked about him in NASCAR, but Jenson Button is probably the nicest Formula One champion I can think of.
Yeah, I agree, but I guess he kind of got lucky because
Yeah, very lucky. Braun.
Braun
Yep.
got this double diffuser,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
then while the other guys caught up with them, they already won like half of the races, and then even on the second part of the championship, they were not that great, but
Right.
the first races helped him to be the champion. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Button is one of them. Kimi is the character, but he kind of also
Yeah.
on
Oh, yeah.
that side. He is like
Same.
very
Right. Yeah.
straightforward. Yep, yep.
Yep. Um, is Aston Martin a bigger challenger to Red Bull than Ferrari this year?
I would say yes, because Aston Martin, it's like everybody calls it is the second Red Bull, and
Yeah.
because the three Red Bull drivers on the podium,
Yep.
that
Yep.
was the joke for them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they get this guy who worked with Newey, and apparently he was taking very good notes,
Yeah.
to reproduce it in this year Aston Martin uh, Formula One car. So I guess yes. I mean, for sure, Ferrari and the Mercedes, the big names, the great teams, for sure they will catch up with them. All these updates and stuff, and I think they will win the races as well. Like maybe Mercedes, maybe Ferrari. If something happens with the Red Bulls, you know, again, they seems they are not very technical stable this year. I mean, we saw the issues with Max car, and all these problems. So that might happen. It's the longest season for history for
Yeah.
123 races, so everything can happen. So I think they will fight with this three team. They will fight with each other for the second place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Red Bull is unreachable this year.
Yeah. I agree with that. I texted this to you a couple of weeks ago. You think Aston Martin will get a win?
Actually, I think yes. And I also found, another, when I was preparing to talk to you, another statistics regarding his podiums. So he got his podium number 100, right?
Yep. Yep.
So the next one is podium 101st. So Alonso joined the club of like only 5 people who won 100 podiums. And
It's
what
amazing.
interesting is that for all of these people, it's a Prost, Schumacher, Hamilton, Vettel, Raikkonen, and now it's Alonso.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yep. So for each of them, 101st podium was a win.
Yeah.
For Prost, it was 1993. For Schumacher, it was 2002, I guess. Vettel, 2011. Hamilton, 2018. 16. Kimi, 18. So now, technically, if Alonso will be on the podium, should be a win.
Yeah.
So there's like 3 ways. Or it will be the win, or he will never get the podium again, or he will just break the statistics. So that's the
Yeah.
interesting thing. Yeah.
Do you think Mercedes is kind of written off the season?
No, I don't think so, because I think this year for them is better than the last one. And remember how horrible was last year for them with all this purposing, and they were managed to win a race, and
Yeah.
actually they solved the problem. And for the team who won like last, like the latest like 8 constructors championship, no, I mean, of course they will not win the championship this year, but they will fight, and probably they, again, as I mentioned, maybe if they will get lucky, they will win 1 or 2 race this year.
Yeah. So in your mind, you think it's Red Bull number one for sure, right?
Yeah.
Are you putting Aston Martin in that second spot for constructors?
No. And
Put
the
Ferrari
reason
there?
I do not do it, because Alonso is strong, but Stroll, I don't think he will help them to win the second spot. I mean, because the rest of the teams, they
Mistake
have
prone. Yeah.
pretty strong driver lines up, right?
Yeah.
Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston, not yet. They don't have that strong drivers lineup, so I don't think they will get the second place. Maybe third, maybe fourth, but not the second one. Even having the second technically car in the peloton, they will not get the second place.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
We'll see, right? That's why they run the
Yep,
races.
yep, yep,
Well, hey,
yep.
thanks for taking the time to join the
Of
show.
course, it was a
Yeah.
pure pleasure talk to you. Yeah, if you guys, yeah, maybe I'll ever get what's the any other races on quota. There's gonna
Yeah.
be MotoGP, but no, 2 wheels is
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
few for me. So probably I will not visit them. But hey, yeah, if you want to discuss if we will have that crazy race in Formula One that all close to NASCAR, which I saw in Kota, yeah, please invite me. I will be happy to join you to discuss them. And yeah, that's a pleasure.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate it. I do hope that you'll come back and join us again, and we'll make sure that, I'll continue to text you during these races and, send
Please
you some
do.
random things here and there. So give our best to the family and, thanks for joining us tonight. I hope we didn't, ruin dinner for you because I know it's right in your dinner hour there where we
No,
are
no,
at.
I
So,
already had the dinner, so
all
that's
right.
fine. Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Don. It
man.
was pleasure to meet you, to see you, sorry. And my regards to Tim.
For sure. Yeah, we'll see you, dude. Thanks, man.
See ya.
Hey, welcome back. So we have Tim joining us. Hey, Tim, thanks for checking in with us. I know you're on vacation this week, and
I am.
I hate to take you away from your family, but I do appreciate you checking in here. Sorry you missed our discussion with Alex. He was good, but you'll have to listen to the show, Timmy.
I will, which I'm excited to listen to because
Yeah.
I missed that part because of vacation activities. So I apologize for missing that, but I can't wait to hear that portion of it, to talk about COTA, talk about NASCAR, what happened there, and talk a little bit. I would imagine you guys discussed the crowd and what that looked like
Yeah.
as well.
My
So I'm
my favorite part was he arrived 4 hours early, right, to beat the crowd. And it took him all of 10 minutes to walk from his car to the grandstand in turn one. So,
oh my goodness.
you know,
So
where for us, right, when we went to COTA, when we did Formula One, it was park off site, shuttle ride, and then, you know, then cattle all the way to the where we were at, right? It
so you got
was
to park like right outside the gate and then come in.
yes,
Oh my goodness.
novel idea. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting to hear. You know, I did see some of the videos that you sent me and
Mhm.
that Alex had sent you, and there looked like nobody was there. So I can't wait to hear the beginning of the show.
Yeah, he did. He did good. He was wearing a Ferrari hat, so you'll have to watch the YouTube as well. So
Ferrari.
yeah, and he wasn't all decked out in Red Bull gear.
That surprises me
Yeah,
100%.
I know. Me too. Me too. I'm like, what? So,
Did you question him on it?
Of course, I did.
All right, I'll have to listen
Yeah.
for sure.
Hey, IndyCar finally comes back this coming Sunday at Texas Motor Speedway. 27 years IndyCar's been racing at Texas. Can you believe that?
No, it's been that long?
Yeah, started as an IRL race in 1996.
That was the first year of the split, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
And then I got a little trivia for you, Tim, because you know it's my favorite part.
Oh my goodness.
And of course, these will be multiple choice questions for you, Tim. Who has the most wins at Texas Motor Speedway? Is it Elio Castroneves, with or without a dash, Scott Dixon, or Ryan Briscoe? Tick tock, tick tock.
It's got to be Scott Dixon.
Right.
Thank you.
Drat.
See, look at that.
I hate it when
You
you
were
do that.
hoping it was going to be wrong.
Look at that. Hey, among team owners, who has the most wins? Ganassi, Penske, or Andretti?
Andretti Autosport.
Wrong. It is Team Penske
Man.
with 9, Ganassi
wow.
with 7. Be shocked to hear this. Andretti has 1 win
That's
at
it?
Texas Motor Speedway when they were Andretti Green, and it was with Tony Kanaan in 2004.
Wow. That's when they were really dominant.
Yeah, long
And
time
so
ago.
I figured they had
Yep.
multiple wins there, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the last 10 years, there's been 12 races. Penske has won 4 of those. Ganassi has won 4 of those. And there's been a couple of spoilers. It's been Coyne, Carpenter, Rahal. This is when Rahal took the win over our friend James Hinchcliffe, and James mentioned that when we had him on the show.
Yeah.
And Arrow McLaren with Pato O'Ward in 2021 when he won race 2.
Okay. Yeah.
So there you go, a little trivia
Wow.
for you.
That's some good trivia.
Yeah, I like that.
And I got 1 right, so that's not too bad.
Yeah,
That's
good
50%.
job.
Yeah.
Good job. I didn't
Heck
want to
yeah.
tell you I was going to do trivia. I didn't want you to prepare.
No.
Not that you would. In fact, Alex was very well prepared. You'll see that in the show too when you watch it.
Oh, he was? Unlike
Yes.
your co-host?
He had some
prepared?
yeah, but you're better not prepared.
Too funny.
I like this Texas race, Tim. Always have. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, it's kind of been a slow and steady decline over the years, which is, of course, sad to me because we've seen some great racing there. In fact, we've seen AJ Foyt smack Arie Luyendyk there. And, you know,
Oh my goodness.
I never forget that. And it always kind of surprises me because, you know, the DFW market has the potential for big corporate sponsors. And I'm surprised that they just haven't come to fruition. We've talked about this on the show and, you know, realized that Toyota's not part of the series,
Mhm.
but Toyota's there.
Yep.
You know, they're in Plano. NTT Data is in Plano, and they're, of course, part of this series. But so is 7-Eleven. And 7-Eleven used to be a big part
Yeah.
of the series at one point, and not
In a
so
big
much
way
anymore.
with Tony
Yeah.
Kanaan.
Yeah. PepsiCo has a massive presence in that market with the Frito-Lay brand as well. So, and of course, not to mention the energy and oil companies, right? The oil and gas
Yeah.
companies. So, I don't know why IndyCar hasn't been able to persuade any of these big companies, besides NTT Data, of course, to partner with Texas Motor Speedway. Just not getting the bang for the buck, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. You think with everybody that's there something would come out of this and some promotions to get people
Mhm.
in the stands, right? So employee thing or whatever it might be, but obviously Toyota needs to join the series in order for that to transpire, but everybody else there should sort of jump on the bandwagon, I would think.
Yeah, I agree. And dude, there's some big dealer groups there, right? I mean, if Bomarito is doing what they're doing at Gateway,
Mm-hmm.
you can't do something with Sewell in Dallas, which is a big Dallas dealership chain, down there. So, there's always opportunities there. I mean, from where I sit, it looks very obvious. I'm sure if you're inside IndyCar and IndyCar, development team, I'm sure you know better than I do. I'm just sitting in a chair. So, but speaking of IndyCar marketing and the promotions, I know that there has been increased emphasis. In fact, the series is shaving a little bit of the winner's circle money to help bolster the marketing budget in IndyCar. So I checked in with Brother Bergstrom earlier today. He lives around Dallas. He lives in a Dallas suburb, and I asked him, have you noticed any increased marketing or promotional activities related to the race this weekend?
Yeah, like any activations, anything going on? And
his response, and I'm absolutely quoting his response, didn't even know the race was this weekend.
That's so disappointing.
Yeah. And Lance is a fan, right? So it's like, it's not as if he's a casual fan or not an IndyCar fan. He's not, right? He is an IndyCar fan. Indianapolis every year.
I know. So
decades.
he is a fan. And he travels from Texas to go to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So if he doesn't know there's a race, no one else is going to know there's a race.
Who else is? Yeah. The casual fan is not going to know.
No, not at all.
Yeah. It's not good.
That's terrible.
Pato Award, of course, has done what he can do to help, by way of partnering with TMS. In fact, he had an offer through his own website in partnership with TMS. They created a $399 offer that includes a hat, a jersey, garage access, and viewing of the race from a catered suite. He has so far sold 150 of those packages, which is a good number. 150 of those packages, and he said he's got room for about 30 more.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I didn't know that was. I thought I saw a little bit of that, but I guess I didn't pay that close attention. So that's a good number. It's not going to fill the stands at Texas Motor Speedway, but it is a
going to fill a suite.
Yeah.
Not going to see those folks from the from the camera, but
for sure. So that's good. At least something's going on. But if it's what you said that Lance had mentioned, then I think this race might be in trouble.
Yeah, I'm worried about it. But I think you need it. I think that you and I agree with that, right? You do need a big oval race before Indianapolis, because I don't know that you want to go to Indy, that cold, so to speak, without having been out and tried your best at an oval race, even though it's a very different oval race, but it's an oval race nonetheless.
Yeah, I just say they get a lot of time on track, and I don't think they use those cars anywhere else but Indianapolis. But I'm sure it's good to get, at least the rookies on an oval before you show up to Indianapolis, right? I think it's important to do that. So yeah, I agree.
So there's a couple of things I'm watching specifically. Be curious to know what you are. But first, of course, is Sato-san, Takuma Sato, making his debut with Chip Ganassi in what will be his warm-up to the month of May. I expect a full go big or go home by Takuma in this race, Tim, and it would not surprise me at all to see him win, or at least take a top 5. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he's going to be strong. You're putting him in a car that can compete. So, and he's all out. So it's either a top 5 or potentially in the fence somewhere. That would be sort of my thought with Takuma, but he's going to be good. And I think he's going to want to take care of the equipment. So as long as the car's underneath him and it doesn't go away, I think he's going to do really well. And he's going to be one of the top Chip Ganassi drivers at the track.
Yeah, without a doubt. This second groove is something else that I'm looking at. Last year, a limited number of drivers participated in an exercise that opened up that second groove because of that PJ one that's was put down because of the NASCAR race. This year, IndyCar is planning for this and has allotted tires, and I believe it's open to the entire field, though I'm not sure if it's mandated or not. But I think that should help the racing.
Yeah, I think so. It is open to every competitor. They are going to be able to run up on that groove. And I think some drivers found it last year and used it. And I think some used it beyond its limits, which I'm kind of referencing Kyle Kirkwood, where he got into the wall. But at the same time, drivers that are brave enough found that second groove and were able to make some passes. So I think if you have all these teams and all these drivers able to do the open practice and use the additional line, which, you know, they have the open practice, which allows them to have more tires. So you have more tires to do this and just more time on track. So I think a lot of the drivers will take advantage of it, and it should grip up. I'm hoping it grips up, and I hope there's some drivers that do go up there and can use it without feeling like you're completely on the edge and you could crash at any moment.
Yeah. What about you? What are you looking for?
I'm just looking for another race. You know, I feel like we had the first race. There was a lot of promotion around that. There was a lot of hype, at least on Twitter with IndyCar.com. I thought there was a lot of things, and even with the drivers on their social media events or their social media pages. And so I'm just looking for the season to get like a regular cadence, a good cadence. So for me, it's just back on track. You know, hopefully fans show up. Hopefully, I kind of want to see what, you know, the viewership looks like on the TV and everything else, because, you know, they did fairly well for St. Pete. So for me, it's just seeing them back out there again and seeing how the rookies do. And just, I'd like to see what Takuma does. Is Penske as dominant as they were last year? I think we're still sort of, you know, that we're not far enough into the season to understand that. So yeah, and can Marcus Ericsson continue, right? So what's going to happen on that front with him, and how can he take what he did in St. Pete and move on to Texas here?
Yeah,
and is Andretti's Autosport back, right? Like that's one thing that, you know, they were super strong at St. Pete, super strong. They just didn't have the finishes.
Yeah.
So are they really back? And are they back on all types of circuits? There's going to be their next big test is coming up. I'm sure you're looking forward to, and not to mention is Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan, right? Where are they at now? And where's
Jack Harvey specifically?
Harvey,
right? Yeah. I'm starting to worry about Jack. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but you mentioned ratings, right? And we took an extra week off in this since our last show, which, you know, we got to come. We have lives as well. My professional life has taken me all over the place. In fact, I'm getting on an airplane again tomorrow. But and then of course you know, with your vacation,
Where
you
are
have
you
younger
going?
kids. I'm going to Nashville.
Oh, nice. I just drove through there.
2 days. Yes, you did. But we talked about ratings, and it's funny because we keep talking about, you know, IndyCar's getting killed by Formula One. Formula One's growing, and it is growing. Formula is definitely growing, but you know, Formula One in 21, and it was marginally better in 22. It's a little over 1 million viewers per race.
Yeah, I just looked at their last one though.
Yeah,
at Jeddah, and it was 1.5, I think.
Yeah, and
it was an uptick.
Yeah, IndyCar's about 1 million.
Yeah,
right. But if there's 20 million people in the U.S. that are watching Drive to Survive, where the hell are they on Sunday mornings?
Oh, you know, I talk to a lot of people that watch Drive to Survive, so they know I'm a race
Never
fan,
watch the race,
but that's all they watch. They're like, I don't watch the races. You're like,
yeah,
okay, well, you're really missing out on what.
But are
racing's
you
about, right?
It's the blue car with the big bull on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the ones that's going to win every week. So
yeah,
I think IndyCar has. I think where IndyCar's hook is, of course, and I'm an IndyCar fan first and foremost. Where IndyCar's hook is, anybody can win.
Oh yeah.
Right. Anybody can win on any given Sunday. Is it going to be Penske and Ganassi? A little better odds, but could be anybody. Yeah,
could be anybody. At least anybody on those teams. Plus, the entire field actually.
Yeah.
You know, I think I think for some of the younger fans that they're and I don't need to get on a tangent on this, but I think some of the younger fans that are looking at Formula One, they like the technology aspect, they like the glamour, the glitz, everything that goes into Formula
Mhm.
One, which they've done a great job marketing themselves as that. They've turned into that. And IndyCar was that. Think
Yeah.
about back in the day. That's
Hmm.
coming up to Indianapolis in the 500. You really didn't know what was coming.
Yeah. 40 cars, right, entered for qualifying. You didn't know who was going to make
Different
it, who
engines,
wasn't. Yeah.
different style of
Yeah.
engines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
that's the attraction. I think that's the thing that most people, I, I think, understand, but that makes this, a racing series and very interesting for people to get hooked. But at some point, when you have all that technology, somebody's going to get the edge, and they're going to win, and they're going to win, and they're going to continue to
Yeah.
win, which makes it somewhat boring.
Yeah. I'm going to give you my picks for pole, win, and honorable mention. I don't know if we normally do honorable mention, but I'm going to anyway. For pole, I'm giving ourselves Scott McLaughlin,
Nice.
Scott Dixon for the win, because why not?
Yeah. He's
And
the driver
honorable
with the
mention,
most.
Sato-san, Takuma Sato.
Very nice. Those are
Yeah.
some good picks. I like those.
What do you like?
I think I got pole. I'm going to go with Pato. I think they're going to show up strong.
Wow.
They were strong last year, right? He had a very good car. I think for the win, I'm going to go with a Penske driver, and I think Will Power is going to pull this one off this
Oh,
time.
I love it, because I love Will. Yep.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah,
he's going to be right there. If I'm sure all the fans remember, or all the listeners remember last year where you had McLaughlin and
Mhm.
you had Newgarden battling out there to the end.
Yep.
And so my honorable mention is going to be Kyle Kirkwood. I think he's gonna come up on the podium. I think he sort of knows the track. He figured out the other groove. He's in a team that can really compete. So that's going to be my honorable mention. And maybe he won't be podium, but he'll be in the hunt. So
Yeah.
Kyle Kirkwood.
And looking forward to it. Get back to this thing. This long break is hard, right? There's been 2 Formula One races since the St. Pete, right? Well, the same day as St. Pete, and then the Saudi Arabia race, and I mean, it's been 2 Formula One races during the time that IndyCar's been out there, and there's probably been 17 NASCAR races in the same interim. But in other news, Tim, Iowa races this year will be the same length both days. Not sure why the change. They didn't ask me, but both races will be 250 miles this year instead of one at 250 and the other at 300 as it was last year.
Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure I even realized they were 2 different lengths anyway. So I don't think that's a big deal, but wonder why they made no news on why the change, as you mentioned.
Didn't see anything. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
IndyCar game delayed again. Big deal or big deal?
I saw that. That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Because they yanked that license from iRacing early.
I know.
In order to continue this thing. And this group has not been able to deliver a product.
I know. And it sounds like they have cash flow problems. So they're trying to figure out how to be sustainable in an economy that isn't great right now. And therefore, they pump the brakes on the IndyCar game, which, the spin is we don't want to release it before it's ready. But of course, you don't want to release it before it's ready. But there's something else going on that they just can't be ready because they don't have the resources or the money or whatever it might be. So it kind of it's kind of like like a black eye to the series for making the change that they did. Yeah,
totally.
So because there was a lot of uproar when it came out of iRacing. It's a real big deal.
Yeah,
gaming is huge these days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, the IndyCar Muckety Mucks went down to Argentina to check out the potential for an IndyCar race in Argentina. Big deal or big deal?
It's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
It is.
Yes, that is wouldn't you love to see Argentina, right? Argentinian Grand Prix between St. Pete and Texas?
Yeah, totally. Put
Yeah.
it out there. You got a whole month to pull it off. So you got 2 weeks to get there and 2 weeks to get back. So
Yeah.
I think it's a no-brainer, and I think it's
So
going to
do I.
happen. They wouldn't be down there if it's not in the works. So what kind of percentage do you give this, Dan, of actually happening?
I don't know. It's IndyCar, man, right? They can screw it up somehow. 30, 40%.
Oh, see, I'm probably 60, 70.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a done deal. I don't think anybody's going down there unless it's pretty much set in stone. So it's just a matter
Yeah.
of figuring out the details, and they're going to have backing, and they're going to have, a government, I think, behind it as well. Right. So
Oh yeah. Because that's the sponsor, right? Of Juncos Hollinger's team this year
yeah,
is the
exactly.
right
Just
Argentinian
visit
tourism
Argentina, right?
deal.
It's a
Yeah.
tourism.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it just makes sense to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they announce something around the 500.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
That's
that's the best place to do that.
yep.
So all eyes are on the sport at that point. Hey Tim, big news. RHR, Captain America
Ah,
in the Dreyer Reinbold car for Indy 500. Big deal or big deal?
it's a big deal. He's been missing from the series. I know where you stand on this.
Big deal.
All the listeners know where you stand on this, but it's a big deal because there's a lot of people that want to see him in the field. And so he's going to bring a lot of knowledge. They're going to do their thing. I think it's a big deal. Dan, can you just say it for the listeners?
Big deal. That's all I got. Linus Lundqvist testing with Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan at Texas after the Texas race. Bobby's saying he might have a shot at a couple of races later this season. For those that may not know, Linus is the most recent Indy Lights champion. Had a little smaller scholarship fund out of that series than what had been in the past,
which didn't land him a ride.
Right, which he's been challenged with getting a ride put together there, and so it's an opportunity for Linus. Tim, big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. These are all big deals. I
don't know about
the next one, but we'll wait till we get to the next one. But
well, I feel like it's a big deal only because, again, I worry about our friend Jack Harvey, and if it's a threat to Jack's seat, if it's a threat to Jack's seat, that's my bigger concern. Is that
maybe it's a
and
fourth
I'm a little
car.
distracted because I'm looking for something, but I can't seem to find it.
Maybe it's a fourth car. I doubt it's a fourth car.
They're going to put him in a fourth car, but not.
No, I mean next year.
Like,
I'm saying.
Yeah.
2024. So it could be writing on the wall for Jack Harvey. Again, as most people know, he was injured and then they did testing and he wasn't cleared for testing. And since then he's been cleared. So I don't know what is exactly going on there. I'm assuming it's concussion protocols like we believe was last year as well. I don't know if that was confirmed. So yeah, it's a big deal for sure on both notes, right? It's great for Linus Lundqvist to come in and do this. He should be because he's the Indy Lights champion. And at the same time, you wonder about Jack Harvey.
Yeah. Yeah, I do because I like him.
Yeah.
Gamebridge supporting the Weldon brothers as they embark on their sort of road to Indy. Big deal or big deal?
I think it's a big deal. Right.
I do too.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Tim, those kids are young, man. They look young too.
Yeah, they do. I love the way the IndyCar community as a whole has just rallied around that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's a big deal. And whether it's Gamebridge or whoever is doing that is really, it's a really good gesture, but I think it's not just a gesture. We really want to support the family as a whole with the incident that happened in Las Vegas. So yeah, that's a big deal.
This Gamebridge sponsorship is a big deal in IndyCar. It really is. And, potentially a big deal in Formula One as well. I mean, they were sponsors of that Miami race last year. We saw the signage there. Mm-hmm. And I think that Andretti, that's, that's the hand that Andretti's playing, I think, for his Formula One endeavors.
Yeah, I think so too. They want to be involved. They are involved.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to continue to be involved. The entire 500 is, they're the title sponsor for that. So,
Yeah.
not to speak of, Herbert's Collar and what they're doing here with the Weldon brothers, and as you mentioned, Miami, so on and so forth. So, yeah, they're in it to win it, and hopefully it's paying off. I'd love to see that, the money and the effort they're putting into this is really paying off, which I hope to see that for High V as well, as much as they put into it too. So hopefully they saw, some return on their investment.
Yeah. Breaking news as of this morning, NTT Data will extend their title sponsorship of the series. I'm not even going to ask. This is a big deal.
Yeah, because you don't want to be out searching and spending resources and time and all this effort to find a new title sponsor. So I agree.
Yeah. And courtesy of our friend Nathan Brown at the Indianapolis Star, since PPG, this is one of the longest sponsorship deals. Tim, I didn't realize this until Nathan put out a tweet, and PPG was 18 seasons as a title sponsor of Champ Car Pro at that time, right?
Yeah, and the PPG Cup.
Yeah. FedEx, 5 years, IZOD 4, Verizon 5, and NTT 6 as of right now. And then they'll carry on next year for multiple years, and they're going to be the second,
longest title sponsor.
Yeah, title sponsor.
I didn't know that. That's interesting news.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
PPG was around forever, right? So
yeah.
Pittsburgh Paints, right?
And that's who's sponsoring Texas right now, right? For this year. This is the title sponsorship of it's the PPG 375.
So that makes me believe that Newgard is going to be in the PPG car?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's kind of a B2B thing, right? That's a Penske B2B thing. We've seen a lot of the quote unquote new sponsors coming into IndyCar. They're Roger Penske sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
Shell.
Yeah, so
replacing Speedway. Right. That was inevitable though, because 7-Eleven bought Speedway a few years ago, and they're in the process of changing over that branding. But 7-Eleven has had a presence in IndyCar racing, so that could have been a natural spot for them. Though I don't know about you, and maybe it's just the Upper Midwest. I don't think 7-Eleven and gas. Right? Yeah. Like I don't think 7-Eleven gas stations.
I don't either.
Yeah.
It's a convenience store, right? With Slurpees. Yeah. That's all I think about.
Yeah. Not a gas station.
Getting a Slurpee. So, yeah.
CNG, as we call it in the biz. Convenience and gas, right? But it's just convenience.
Yeah.
To me. So.
Well, it's all good stuff.
That's all I got. You enjoying your vacation?
I am. I'm down here in Florida, Carolyn Beach, enjoying some time with the family and friends, as well as.
More importantly, are they enjoying time with you?
I think so. I've behaved myself. Everybody's got a lot of sunburn. So we're, trying to nurse ourselves through that. But I was going to say, overall, we still got several days down here, which I'm looking forward to. And we're just
making liberal use of your sunscreen.
Trying to, but there's always a spot or two or three that you miss. And when you miss a spot, it just totally wrecks your time. Right. So it's just, you try to stay as well, some of the kids though, they don't really care until they get burned. And then they're like, I should have listened to you. Yeah. You should. They can't
function. Right.
Right. They're like lobsters. They're like just walking around.
They're like lobster zombies, right?
Yes.
Totally. They don't want to move, and they're shuffling along. Yeah.
But we're having a great time.
I hope you're starting top down, my friend.
I'm sorry.
I hope you're starting top down, my bold friend. With sunscreen.
Yes, I'm making sure that, even though this is a little pink right now, but
a little blotchy.
It's all good. We're enjoying our time. We're going to do some fun stuff tomorrow and through the rest of the week. And then we'll be hopefully back to Michigan, where the temperature has increased from when we left for about 20 degrees or so. But we'll see what it's like there.
Might get a temperature increase, but it's been raining here like biblical.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah. So we're enjoying it. And I'm excited to do the show. Part of the show, I missed the beginning half, but you know, I'm in part of Florida that's in Central Time Zone, and so you got to remember
You
that
are?
even when, yes, that's the problem.
You're in the
That's why
Panhandle.
I was
Okay.
ready to go, but it was an hour later than we had planned.
Jesus.
And I don't carry my phone when I'm typically on vacation. It stays
Yeah.
at the house. And then I was like,
Or even
oh,
on a
no.
regular week.
Are you speaking from experience, Dan?
Yep. And when I talked to the brothers Reiner, they had the same stories. So it's not just me. I was heartened
Oh,
to know it wasn't just me.
I spread it around evenly,
Mhm.
my disconnection, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hey,
So I
it's good to
apologize for
see
that.
you. Enjoy your vacation.
All right. We're gonna have to get together soon. It's been a while.
We're going to get together in a week and do this all over again when you're back in the Eastern time zone.
Yes, we will. We're gonna do this, but I mean, together,
Yeah.
have lunch or do something.
Yeah. Tomorrow's trip is the last one for me for a little while because I have, an opening on my team, and I'm going to be doing some hiring, and I need to be here for that. So
Yeah, and I've got a couple business trips coming up here in April, so I'll be in and out. But I'll be near you when I go to the airport. But other than that,
Spirit,
it'll probably be the closest for at least a month. But we'll figure it out.
for sure. Thanks everybody for listening. Appreciate it. And be sure to engage with us on social media. Check out all our social media channels. Catch our show on YouTube. We get a lot of comments on YouTube. We love those. Keep those coming. We always try to respond to those. And look for us on Twitter and all of that good stuff. We will catch up with you after Texas in 1 week's time. Thanks. See you then.
Take care.